Welcome to my channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if it's your first time here. If you've been here before, make sure you hit the like button.
Thank you everyone for taking time to introduce. It's nice to see all of the new members. And I see Donovan has joined us. So I'm just going to give a very brief introduction and turn it over to him. I know many of you know Donovan. He's certainly a sought after fitness and wellness leader in the hospitality space. His gym, Calistoga Fit, has been voted best gym in Napa County for 4 years in a row, and he has been voted best personal trainer 4 times. His parent company, Donovan's Wellness Solutions, currently works with over 12 property brands in developing, managing, or revamping their wellness programs. And their mission is to bridge the gap between hospitality, longevity, and wellness. And today, Donovan's topic is how to make your wellness vision a reality. We're very happy to have him join us. So Donovan, I turn to you.
I'm very happy to be able to kind of talk to you guys. It was a little bit of a last minute kind of switcheroo, and kind of thinking about how do you make, your wellness vision a reality. As you kind of have seen, and we all know that wellness has really risen to the top when it comes to the spa industry and hospitality. And, I've been blessed to be able to work with some great spa directors over the years and continue to do so with the properties we work with and the brands we work with. And I can say that spa directors are one of the most creative people when it comes to putting together programs, ideas. Often we have a vision that we want to bring to that property when we start with a new property or the current property that we're working with. And the question is, how do you do that when you got to worry about massage therapists, you got to worry about, COVID, you got to worry about all the different things that you are trying to do while still manage this vision. So one of the things that is interesting in seeing this evolution of wellness kind of come to the forefront is when we usually work with new properties, that creative side is great because you have unique ideas. People who've been to Bali, or if they've been to forest bathing in the Northeast, or they want to take these experiences back to their property, and they get so excited about the unique idea. And what's interesting is, how do you really build a program? If you look at a restaurant, when you go to an Indian restaurant, they always have the standards of what they sell. Marsala, chicken tandoori, you got curry, and it's not always about the unique. It's also about having those standards and those brands. If you think about what you sell probably the most in a spa, I'm guessing is, and you guys are gonna know better than I do, your deep tissue, your signature, Swedish style massage, signature facial. Those are the things that often are 80%, 70% of what you sell and guests want. But how do you make yourself unique is the question. And I think one of the things that, the reason I wanted to talk about this is like, how do you really build that out? And I think you should start with the standards. And those standards are the things that are gonna allow you to build the trust with the consumer, build the trust with the guests, so that they will buy your unique product once they know you have certain things in place. I wanted to kind of get an idea, what did you guys think? And you can chime in and unmute yourself, because I'm gonna get you to interact a little bit with me, is what do you think is the top selling, I'll say the stuff that the properties that we work with, the top selling group offering when it comes to fitness and wellness?
Definitely for us here at Moonacre Spa, our new partnership with you again, and then of course the 5 years I spent with you at Auberge, it's yoga. Everybody would like to have some yoga. We're seeing the hiking and biking start to pick up. People want to get outdoors, definitely not in the heat wave, but in general. But definitely yoga has been the top seller for groups for us.
Exactly. Susie, were you thinking the same thing?
Yes, I was actually going to say that too. All different types of yoga, I think people are interested in trying.
Yeah, so that is number one. Number one is yoga. And, I think one of the big pictures of that, one of the unique things and the great things about yoga when it comes to the spa is that there is opportunities when you have big groups coming to your hotel or your property. Oftentimes, you're not going to have the therapists the hours and the services available for a group of 20, 30, sometimes even more than that for some of the bigger properties. And so what is a way that you can capture revenue for your department when those groups come in, and how can you offer something to them that it makes your property unique and it can attract those groups, which are usually bigger ticket things, and it's going to be something that the owners are really excited about. So yoga is definitely number one. Number two, Kimberly kind of got that one. It was hiking, some form of hike, meditation hike. And then number three actually has been something more recently in the last year, is team building. Some aspects of team building has been the third thing that we've seen sell the most when it comes to groups. You're seeing this with, I have got Meta coming up. I did some one with Salesforce, with engineers, and we've done several different team building aspects where they're introducing their crew back to the office, back from remote, introducing new team members to old team members. And when they come up here, we have found that is a very high selling feature, is being able to offer that and make it attractive for corporate groups. Because at the end of the day, they want their bottom line to happen where their groups come together, they get integrated, they build that team chemistry, and they go off and hopefully, produce really good numbers for their company. So those are the top three. And when you kind of come back to the standards, I think the thing that before you can start to really sell and get things moving, if you have a gym, I would say number one, if I give you three things, there's 10, there's 20 different things you can do. But if I give you the top three things that we try to do when we work with a property, if you have a gym at your property, you want to make sure that it's stocked with accessories, and you want to make sure that it's on the website and what's in your gym. So oftentimes the gym is under public, it's not on the website as much, or the pictures are very limited. The options of what's in the gym, and guests really want to know that. I mean, they want to know down to the point of what's the right clips I should be using for my Peloton when I come there. If you have a Peloton, you should promote that you have one. So those are the things, or that little thing of that trust of, oh, they take this seriously. Because if I see a property that's not going to take it seriously, then am I going to trust that they're going to have the right yoga teacher, the right experience that is unique? Number two is get the people before they arrive. So social, that's very clear. Like I said, coming back to the website, if you have some great reviews of the team building that you've done with groups or the yoga things, you want to put that onto the website, showing that, hey, this group, if they had a great time, it's showing that, so that the next groups, when they see that, they want to book that experience. And then the other thing is pre-arrival emails. That's often underutilized, because if you get them before, then it makes it easy for you operationally to reach out to the instructor or a team member who's going to perform whatever service that is. And then the last thing, which is probably the hardest thing, is you have to have the right people. And obviously in the last 2 years, finding the right people is always the struggle. But what I've seen is that there's often yoga or different studios and gyms. Find the same way you would look for a gym or look for a studio to work out in, is the same way you could search for those potential partners, the potential business owners, because there's so many instructors out there that are great instructors but do not know how to market themselves. They do not know how to consistently build and make themselves a full-time yoga instructor, but they can do this, they can show up on time, they have the hospitality knowledge, and they really just want to show their craft and their creativity within the classes. So those three things: gym, get the people before they arrive, and you want to also make sure that you have the right people. And then kind of coming back, the top three for single and couples is yoga, kind of HIIT style training, and then personal training is the things that we are seeing as the things for if it's just an individual who wants some type of wellness service. or a couple that wants a wellness service. I was gonna kind of open up some things for questions. It doesn't have to be about what I talked about, or it could be about your ideas of any questions you have when it comes to wellness or fitness or trying to build your own program. Please shoot away. I just really want to be a resource of my experience, and I can give you whatever information I have.
What are some of the coolest pieces of equipment you've seen in some places that you think is just amazing that everybody should have one? I know Peloton, is one, but what's the newest one? Is Climber, the one that's a kind of a steps, it's kind of a tread climber?
The Versa Climber is very interesting. I do think from an IT perspective, the Tonal is very interesting. It's kind of the cable machine that has a digital presence. What's cool about that is that, and I'm going to kind of sound like a nerd a little bit, but it can spot the individual when they're doing it. When they're starting to struggle on the machine, it actually will ease off the weight as they're doing it. And that's a cool, unique experience. I think those are also a cool option and upgrade to potentially put in a suite, because it's it can be an amenity for somebody who wants a wellness offering in their space, in their room, if they have the extra space in their suite. Other options is depending on the layout of a property. There's a lot of cool kind of outdoor. You got Beaver. I think Beaver Fit is one that's kind of interesting, where they have these outdoor kind of jungle gym type of setups where you can hang TRX straps and you can hang boxing things and you can do circuits. And so if you have a cool garden of some sort on the property, that can be kind of something that's unique and takes advantage of getting people outdoors, which a lot of people prefer to do, obviously, now when it comes to their workouts versus being in a very closed-in gym.
I thought park horses are going to start coming back.
Yeah.
Remember the old park horses?
Yeah.
But a new twist on it somehow, and somehow you have to gamify things to keep people's interest.
Yep. And I think that's the case. I think the biggest, I would say, wellness is kind of hot right now, like the mental health, connecting the mental health pieces to the fitness and to the spa. But the thing I'm looking down the road, if you're saying the thing I'm investing in right now, is the thing that I think is going to be popular 2 to 3 years from now, and it's kind of already bubbling, is more the longevity kind of look. How do you connect some approachable medical offerings into spa that enhances the idea of lifespan, and integrating those services are the things that my company's looking at, and I think it's going to be the thing that, as AI and different Silicon Valley and offerings are coming up down the table, because I've seen some of the companies and what they're doing, it's going to be pretty interesting, I think 3 or 4 years from now.
Hey Donovan, this is Philippe Zorin here with Universal Companies, and a few years ago I attended the Corporate Wellness Conference in Los Angeles, and I wanted you to tell us what you think of where corporate wellness is going, and how spas, especially in urban setting, can benefit from the market and attract that corporate wellness workers who I think that's a very important part of what companies are using today to attract workers. So how do you see that evolving, and how can our members benefit from that?
There's several ways, especially in an urban setting, you can really benefit of creating packages where you on a slow Wednesday or something, where you can send a small team to the office and have different offerings of meditation, chair massage, breaks in the middle of the day that kind of really integrate the idea of mental health. And then, like I said, team building is still a very big one. But I think having a space where people can come to, maybe even a corporate membership where people can come to spas and be able to have I would call blackout time, where if they just needed 20 minutes to put their phone down, and you set up a setting of aroma sounds to allow people to kind of get that micro nap of some sort, meditation of some sort, I think is going to be interesting. I think the other part of it, it becomes slightly medical insight, but it doesn't have to be fully that, is some type of tracking of progress. So if there's something that you can track, if there's devices out there that can track, low invasive things where you can just put stickers or something, maybe measure brain waves and see they go through a training program of meditation and seeing that they improve, I think is kind of a unique way to do that. So there's corporate wellness is all they're protecting their biggest asset, which is the people. That's their biggest line item, and their mental health is the thing that they worry the most about.
Thank you, Donovan. So as you know, we started our employee wellness program a few months ago, and right now we just kind of started just having one class a month, and hopefully it's going to be one class a week. Just thinking about corporate wellness and knowing that Housekeeping Appreciation Week is coming up. I was going to reach out to you guys anyway about some really cool and unique ideas that we can do for our staff, and of course that's going to happen at all properties. So is anything just top of mind, 3 things that you would suggest, fitness, wellness, mind, body, that we can bring to them over that week that's coming up?
Yeah, totally. There's kind of a couple of things. One thing is often working with, especially housekeeping, the physicality of that job and everything is a lot. And so protecting their back with the right mobility in their hips and their legs and their shoulders, how to stretch, how to, take the 5 minutes, what are the right stretches to be the most effective? How can you take a 3-minute break? If something's starting to bother you in your hip, how do you take care of that? I think, those quick tips are big. I think one of the things, it was an article I read, I don't know if it was in the Atlantic or just about 3 or 4 months ago, that I thought was interesting was, or it was a research article where they measured housekeepers and how do they view themselves in terms of in shape. Do they feel like they're in shape? Do they feel like they work out a lot? And they put pedometers on them and they measured their activity levels, and their activity levels are through the roof, but they felt that they don't move much at all. And just within the research article, the thing that they did is they just told one group their actual numbers and how much they're really moving and compared it to the average person, and the other group they didn't. And just by telling them that, the group that knew that they were moving more felt better, had better mental health, had better results when it came to their health numbers. So just the placebo effect of knowing that they're doing it was a big effect. So I think the education piece is another piece that is important for that.
Donovan, one of the things that, you are such a wealth of knowledge in terms of the spa industry, corporate activities and wellness, and whether it's mind, body, or physical fitness, or the gym. You've got just like the full package, and I really appreciate that. You've been my go-to, but where do you get your information? Just on what's cutting edge, what's current in the market? Do you have resources or articles, publications, websites that you track to stay current on your knowledge and information?
That's a good question, because it's sometimes hard to think about that when you're so deep in it. I will say the thing that usually happens, and I kind of do this on purpose, even though sometimes it takes some time away from me. I design several corporate gyms and really nice residential gyms. And that interaction with a client or a company forces that muscle for me to do some deep research of what's kind of new and available in the space. So I would say talking to your equipment distributor and saying, what's new, what are they seeing? Because they're, you have to understand they're also trying to sell you something too. So But you can usually start to see if you talk to one or two equipment distributors, you can see what things are coming to market. So one of the simple things was 12 years ago, I talked to Precor about what their latest equipment. They were asking me for suggestions on that, and one of the things I told them, I said, you have to be able to put Netflix and streaming on your machines. I could see it coming. I was like, people are going to get away from cable. It's going to start happening, and they want to have the ability to be able to watch, that binge series, Game of Thrones or whatever, while they're jogging or they're doing their thing. So, but I think it's really just searching articles, Google. If something, you can. The stock market will tell you a little bit too, like people might be a little bit softer on Peloton right now. But I still think Peloton is a great product, and it's almost become a standard for a luxury property at least.
So with the spa, we have International Spa Association, and when I was in health and wellness in the fitness club world, we had IRSA, International Health
Yep.
and Racket Association. Is that still relevant and a good resource?
I believe so. I can't speak on it because I haven't been to that one. Oftentimes, I usually, like I said, I like to get my information through research, investing. So I look at what people are investing in to see what is coming. I've been lucky that, some clients are VCs that I work with. And so I ask them, what health things are they seeing? All the stuff is AI of, can you take somebody's information, plug it into a system? Can it spit out, this is the type of massage you should do. This is the type of service you should have. I mean, I think AI could be used for what's the best facial, for a guest, and then explaining that and tracking that, so you encourage that person to come back to you because you have something that's unique and that's catered to them. So I think.
Are you working on that? Are you gonna have that up? I mean, that sounds amazing.
Well, I mean, that is the space I'm looking at more and more. I can't say everything that I'm doing because I don't want to put everything out there, but but that's the stuff that I'm interested in because I think that's where the future is. And so I just want to be ahead of it. I don't want to be so far ahead that it takes forever to explain it. So it's kind of one of those things you want to try to catch the wave like a surfer when it's the right time to catch the wave.
We have some day spas who are on the call today, and they may not have a gym.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if you can address what they may do to add a wellness or fitness component if a gym isn't really part of their picture. They're not a resort spa and so forth.
Yeah, I think something simple that they can do is you can either reach out to a content provider who's good with meditation or simple stretches they could do before their treatment or after their treatment, and where you just require a mat and a setting for them to potentially meditate, a meditation space, to kind of get their body ready for the massage or something. It might be good for them to do some light movement before they go into that, and having something where you can make that a digital experience. I think down the road there can be a VR experience with that. That's coming down the road where there's going to be glasses. I mean, they have the goggles, which are pretty audacious in a way, but I think eventually they're going to get smaller and smaller, and then those options of doing meditation on the top of a hill or top of a mountain on Mount Everest before you go into your treatment, would be kind of a cool thing. So that is the route I would go, so that you don't have to buy a lot of equipment, and there's not a lot of moving pieces. So if you have to use that flex space for something else, you can do it, and it doesn't take away, maybe limited square footage.
Donovan, I have a question. Hi, I'm Deirdre. I work for Canyon Ranch.
Oh, great.
We are going into the wellness club space, so exciting. But at our resorts, we do everything.
Yeah.
And so we are, trying to put, 20 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
Like probably most of us. If you had to choose right now between having a spin studio or a cross-function studio, which would you pick?
I will always pick diversity because trends, as you see, like Soul Cycle is kind of going down a little bit too. They had to close several studios. And I'd be careful, and something we're rebranding soon, Calisthenic Fit, and I mean a little bit of secret is that I would try your best if you can you sell the result? Not worry about selling the actual spin or yoga. Are you selling mental health? That's the result. You're going to have a better mental health. Selling the, weight transformation, because that stuff doesn't go out of style. So if you're doing something that is not too big of a capital investment, and it's a little bit trendy, then ride the wave. If you want to do something that will cost a little bit more capital and you want to be able to give you returns for 10 years plus, then sell the result.
During COVID, and then kind of the emergence of COVID, some predictions and the interest and energy in the wellness space was quite high. I still think it is. I think, the COVID really brought an awareness to our physical well-being. Do you see that waning at all, or gaining momentum, or stabilizing?
Oh no, I think that's gonna keep going, and some of that is not. We just have so much stimulus that hits us that we're taking in more and more information, and we're super hyper aware of everything that's around us. So I think that's still going to be on trend. I think the thing that will probably shift is the opportunity to integrate customization to the individual. Will be the thing that kind of signals of like, if like I said, with something like VR, you are going to have thousands of options that you can use at your fingertips. Okay, how do you take something that big and condense it to something and say, hey, based off this questionnaire, based off your numbers, these are the VR experiences you should have, or these are the services you should consider. So.